at downloading and installing PolySpace, which is Cal Poly's native Astrodynamics and Mission Design code library that supports in-house spacecraft mission design and operation. The first thing you need to do is reach out to Dr. Madhusudan Vijaykumar requesting access to our GitHub page so you guys have access to this. Once you guys have signed up for a GitHub account and have access to PolySpace, when you log into GitHub, this is what your main page should look like. Scroll all the way down, navigate to the README section, which gives you a quick introduction about what PolySpace is, followed by a bunch of installation instructions. PolySpace requires a few dependencies for its operations, mainly the Orekit library, which is developed and maintained by the CS Group or the European Space Agency. For Windows users, it also requires Java JDK libraries, as well as it requires Git for people willing to contribute towards PolySpace. And outside of that, PolySpace requires the use of Anaconda, which is a Python package manager with a bunch of different Python libraries that PolySpace requires for its operation. We'll start with the Windows users. For the Windows users, the first thing you want to make sure is download and install Java JDK. At the time when I was making this video, the Java version that we require was a Java 23. So I click on the link, navigate to the Java page, make sure you download a Java installer that is relevant to your operating system. In my case, it's Windows 64 architecture, so I will choose the Windows 64 installer here. Click on download, and this should download your Java JDK for you. I will click on download, wait for it to download. Once it's done, click on it, and it should open up a pop-up, and the pop-up should ask you if you want to allow access to this app to make changes. Choose yes. This should begin the installation process, and another pop-up should show up on your screen. On this, we will click next, and then this sets the path for where Java is installed. I want to keep it in C program file, so I will choose next, and then wait for it to complete installation. Once Java is complete, click close. Now we will go back to our GitHub page. We'll move on to the next segment. In the next segment, we want to download and install Anaconda, which is a package management for Python. To download and install it, I'm going to right click on this link and click on open a new tab. To download and install Anaconda, you require an account to sign up. If this is the first time you're using Anaconda, then I encourage you guys to create a new account. Or if you guys have already used it before, you can use the same account you used to sign in. In order to get the download, I'm going to click on get started, and this is going to ask us to sign in. Since I'm already signed in, it will take me to this page, and here I'm going to click on Anaconda distribution for a Windows 64-bit installer. When we click that, it'll ask us to download and install Anaconda. I'm going to say yes. The download is complete. Click on the executable file. This should open a pop-up on your computer. Installer should open. Click next. Click on I agree. This will ask you if you want to install Anaconda for just one user or all users. I'm going to say just install for me. It'll automatically pick a location. It's important for us to keep in mind where this location is because we'll be using this later. And then click next. It'll ask if you want to create a shortcut. Say yes. Add installation to my path environment variable. Make sure you click yes. And then it'll ask you register Anaconda 3 as my default Python. You guys can do this if you want to. In my case, I use Anaconda for most of my Python applications, so I'm going to choose yes. And then it'll ask you if you want to clear the package upon completion, which just removes the package installer and clears some space. So I'm going to choose all of that. Once you hit install, the install process should begin. Once the installation is complete, click next. And here choose next, and then launch Anaconda Navigator. Welcome to Anaconda. So we'll just click on finish. Once you do this, let's go ahead and close these tabs. We don't require them for now. Now the next task is for us to open the Anaconda prompt. And once we use Anaconda prompt, we're going to go ahead and install all of these other dependencies through Anaconda. These are a bunch of Python libraries that we require to run PolySpace. So to do that, I'm going to go to my search bar and search Anaconda prompt. If you click on this, it should ask you for Anaconda prompt. Click on Anaconda prompt. This should open a terminal that looks like this with base mentioned here. What we want to do here is we're going to go ahead and create a virtual environment called PolySpace environment, and within this environment we're going to install all of our dependencies. So that way, once we have PolySpace set up, anytime we want to run code, we simply have to activate this environment and all the dependencies will be available for PolySpace. To do this, I'm going to use the commands that you guys see on GitHub. I'm going to type conda create name PolySpace environment. And once you do this, it should go ahead and create an virtual environment called PolySpace env. We'll click on yes. Once this is done, the environment has been created. Now we need to activate the environment before we install dependencies. To do that, I'm going to type conda activate PolySpace env. When you do that, you should notice that this base changes to PolySpace environment. It means to say PolySpace environment is active. Now ready to go ahead and install all of our dependencies. Let's start by installing Orekit first. To do this, we'll type in conda install conda forge Orekit. Choose yes by typing in Y. Once this is done, we will go ahead and install each of the dependencies that you guys see here. So I'm going to copy line by line, copy the first line, navigate to Anaconda, paste it. This will install Java JDK Python packages, and then we're going to go through the second set of lines. We'll go through this, and then we'll go through each and every one of this to make sure all dependencies are installed. But some of you guys may notice that pip might not be a recognized command. That's because some of you might not have pip installed on your computer. So for those of you that don't have pip, we'll go ahead and install that next before we install every other package. So here I'm installing Java JDK. I'll choose yes. It's pretty much the same procedure. As you're installing each and every package, it's going to ask you if you want to type in yes. You want to select yes and install each and every one of them. To install pip, I'm going to type conda install pip. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and install the rest of them. So I'm going to say pip install czml3. Once this is done, next install the geodesy. For that we say pip install pygeodesy, and then go ahead and install the rest of the packages. I'm going to start with this. For this last one, you guys might notice sometimes not all packages get installed completely. So I would double check if any of them don't get installed and then install them individually by just using conda install followed by their name. Once all the packages are done installing, we're just going to make sure we do a quick check that everything is installed. So we're going to type pip list. This should return all the packages that was installed within PolySpace environment, and we're just going to quickly eyeball and make sure we find a few key important packages. This should return all the packages we have. Let's quickly check if everything we installed is in there. The required Python packages have been installed. Once this is done, I'm going to go ahead and close the navigator, scroll down. The next thing to do is to set up Git. I'm going to right click and open that. It's going to ask us to install Git. Choose your right operating system. I'm on Windows, so I'm going to choose here. I'll download the latest Git version. So clicking on that, it'll ask you where you want to save it. I'm going to just save it on my desktop. And once this is done, I'm going to run the installer. It should show you a pop-up like this. Click on install. It should go in and install it for you. Once the installer is complete, I'll unselect all of this. We'll click finish. So Git has been set up. I'm going to close this tab, go all the way down. It's going to ask you what IDE you want. I recommend using the Microsoft Visual Studio Code, but if you guys have a preferred Python IDE like PyCharm or Cursor, you guys can go ahead and install the IDE of your choice. But for this application, I'm going to recommend using VS Code. So I'm going to open VS Code here. It'll ask you to download an appropriate version. Because I'm on Windows, I'm going to choose Windows install. It should go ahead and start an installation. I'm just going to place it on my desktop. And once the installer is ready, click on it to open it. This should open up a pop-up that shows like this. Choose agree, click on next. It'll ask you where you want to install VS Code. Choose an appropriate location and choose next. And then for all of this, click next. It'll ask you if you want a desktop icon. I usually like this, so I'm going to choose all of these options. It's very important you guys make sure you add this to path. And once that's done, choose next and click on install. Once this is done, click on launch VS Code and click finish. When you do this, it should open VS Code, and VS Code should look like this on your screen. What we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and make sure we install or download or clone PolySpace into a required location. To do is I'm going to type cd, which stands for change directory, and I'm going to enter the path where I want to install PolySpace, which is under users, my username, under documents, and under research. So I will cd. Once you're there, it'll bring you to this point. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our GitHub page, scroll all the way to the top, and here you see this arrow next to code. I'm going to click on that. This should open up a URL. We're going to copy that URL, come back to VS Code here, and under the terminal, I'm going to type git clone, and I'm going to paste the URL. When we do this, it should download PolySpace. If you guys notice, a new folder called PolySpace is created here, and it's going through the download process. For some of you, it may ask you to log in and create an account for GitHub. If it asks you, please log in using the GitHub account you used for getting access to PolySpace. These two accounts have to be the same. Once that is done, PolySpace has been downloaded. So I'm going to type cd again, and I'm going to get inside the PolySpace folder. So now we're inside the PolySpace folder. We can also do this by clicking on open folder here on GitHub, and then here going to research wherever PolySpace is, and I'm going to click on this. Once you guys have reached this point, what I recommend you guys to do is restart your computer. Once you have restarted your computer, I will come to this extensions tab, click on the extensions tab, and I'm going to search for Python on it. When you search for it, you will see some Python extensions that was provided by Microsoft. So I'm going to go ahead and click on install. This is going to install a few Python extensions for me that will enable us to run Python code on VS Code. I would recommend only using the one from Microsoft. Apart from this, I would use this one from Kevin Rose, which will help us create indentation as we're writing code. It helps us write code slightly easier. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to install that extension as well. Once these are installed, our PolySpace has been fully set up and we are ready to run a few examples. Before we run an example, we need to make sure PolySpace environment is active. So I will click on Ctrl+Shift+P. If you click on Ctrl+Shift+P, this pop-up should open. Here I will search for select interpreter Python. If you click on that, it will give you a bunch of options. I will go ahead and choose PolySpace environment, the one that we created. Once you have done that, PolySpace environment must be active and you are ready to run an example. To run an example, choose a random example from the examples folder. I'm just going to take 2body CCM example and I'm going to click run. When you click run, some of you guys might see that you are seeing an error called value error jvm.dll could not be found. This sometimes happens the first time you guys run it. To fix this error, what we're going to do is look for edit system environment variables. I'm going to open that. This should open a pop-up that looks like this. Click on environment variables, go to path, click on edit. Under path, make sure that your C program Java JDK 23 bin is provided. If Python is looking for something called as jvm.dll, this is usually inside another subfolder for many of us called server. So I'm going to type in server here, click on OK, click OK. Alright, once this is done, as a safety net, I'm going to try conda activate PolySpace env. Once we do this, you should see PolySpace env show up here. Once we have this ready, I'm going to go ahead and rerun this example, see if it runs. When I click on that, you should start seeing the program print a bunch of outputs on your terminal that looks like this. This means to say PolySpace has been set up correctly, and once this is done, it should open up a new browser, and then you should be able to see our trajectory solution. If you hit play, you will start seeing the orbits move. This should, and then you can mess around with it, and this completes our PolySpace setup.